Paradox recently dropped a dev diary on culture and religion in Europa Universalis V, and it's clear that these systems are much deeper and more complex than in EU4. The world in Europa Universalis V feels more alive thanks to the pop system and added new features in the game, so let's dive in. EU5 has over 2,000 cultures spread throughout the world. Consequently, when you conquer new territories in the game, many of your pops could belong to cultures different from your primary one. At that point, you have two main options in the game. Put them in the accepted cultures category or work to assimilate them into your primary culture. Unlike EU4, where accepting a culture was mostly a matter of diplo points, them having 20 developments in your realm, and also available culture slots, EU5 adds more layers to the game. Cultures in EU5 are categorized within your realm by how they are treated in your nation, ranging from discriminated to tolerated and to accepted. To get more specific, cultures with a discriminated status in EU5 can't be accepted right away. They first need to reach the status of tolerated, which requires them to be at least 1% of your total pops or 1 million pops in your nation in total. Mind you, that's still different from the accepted status which we had in EU4. They are just tolerated in the game in EU5. Promoting them to the accepted status requires an even larger presence, either 2.5% of your total pops or again 1 million pops. Cultures with the accepted or tolerated status also take up cultural capacity. The amount of capacity they need depends on factors like the size of the culture compared to your primary culture, whether they share a cultural group, and the opinion of your primary culture towards them. Capacity can also increase through advances, laws, or by moving up the ranks to empires. Interestingly, exceeding the cultural capacity limit is possible in EU5, but it reduces cabinet efficiency and slows the growth of your primary culture down. Another layer in relation to cultures which is added to EU5 is cultural opinions. Depending on how your primary culture views other cultures, tolerating or accepting them can range from being easy and cheap to difficult and costly. But here's a caveat. With so many cultures and limits on cultural capacity in the game, massive kingdoms in Europa Universalis V can't always accept non-primary cultures in the game. That's where pops assimilation comes in. In each integrated location where most pops follow your primary or accepted culture, non-primary or non-accepted cultures gain +2 assimilation per month in that location. There is also assimilation speed, which depends on clergy literacy, buildings, provincial control, laws, state privileges, your cultural influence versus their cultural tradition, and whether your society leans spiritualist or humanist. Cabinet actions can also accelerate assimilation across entire provinces, depending on your ruler and cabinet's diplomatic skill. To understand this feature in the game better, we need to talk about EU5's cultural influence and cultural tradition, two terms we mentioned before. Cultural influence acts as your culture's attack power, while cultural tradition is the defense against the influence of other cultures. Balance between the two in the game determines how quickly assimilation occurs. In EU5, you can increase cultural influence through works of art, prestige, advances, laws, and cultural buildings like libraries. Cultural influence grows monthly in the game, and its speed can also be influenced by other tags sharing your primary culture. Focusing and increasing cultural influence to the highest in the world in EU5 can lead to cultural hegemony. The nation with the highest total influence gains bonuses like a 25% increase in cultural tradition and the ability to assimilate entire areas at once rather than just provinces. Certain cultures also unlock unique advances, such as Iberian nations gaining special warships. Let's move on to languages in the game. Yes, we have languages in Europa Universalis V, and they are closely tied to culture. So basically, there are four main types of languages in the game. You've got the court language, which is the official one used in administration and politics and in your court, and it gets stronger the more political influence you have. Then there is the common language, the one spoken by most of the population on the streets, and its power grows depending on cultural influence and trade capacity. On top of that, you've got the market language, mainly used in trade hubs, and its strength comes from how much total trade advantage you can pull off. And finally, there's the liturgical language tied to religion and ceremonies, and it's boosted by clergy pops across the world. In EU5, there are also works of art created by painters, writers, philosophers, architects, and so on and so forth, and these give your nation a boost in cultural influence and prestige. Quality of the art depends on your nation's overall artistic level, which is shaped by things like the literacy you have, prestige, how much you have invested in culture, and so on and so forth. Art in EU5 comes in 8 quality levels, starting at locally known and going all the way up to magnum opus, with the higher levels giving you bigger rewards in influence and prestige. But there is something you need to be careful with regards to artworks in EU5. You need to guard them actually, because they can be destroyed or stolen during wars. From pops and cultures to languages, these systems add layers of strategy that we didn't have in EU4, which makes the world in EU5 more alive and dynamic. Thank you for watching, and make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss the future EU5 videos that are on the way.